Hey everyone, thanks for tagging along with me as I take a trip down to LA Union Station to do some film photography, check out Santa Fe 3751, and to see some other cool train events there. But before we do anything, let's film up the camera with some black and white film. For anyone who's curious, the camera that I'm using is a Canon AE1 program. I've had it for about 5 years now, and it's been my main film camera that I've been using, and I absolutely love it. But one of my favorite things about this route we're taking is we're going to be passing up some very old train stations that were built back in the 1920s and 30s, like this Santa Ana station right here. Santa Ana train station was opened September 7th in 1985. Not as old as the other train stations we'll pass up here, but it's still relatively old. Santa Ana is one of the few cities in Orange County that still utilizes interurban train systems within the city. I don't know if the city back in the day had the Pacific Electric system in it, but I'm assuming it did, since it covered the majority of Southern California, up until the early 1960s. The next station we're approaching is an old Santa Fe station in Old Town Orange. It served as a passenger rail hub since the late 1800s. The station building itself was built in 1938 and is recognized as one of Orange's most historical landmarks. The station is also located right next to Chapman University, very close to the cinema and film and animation program buildings too, which is pretty funny. After passing all these industrial spurs, we're coming upon the old Fullerton train station, built in 1888 for the Santa Fe Railroad. And these group of cars right here we're just passing is part of the Fullerton Train Museum. I haven't gone there yet, but I hope to go there pretty soon. One of my favorite little parts about the Fullerton train station here is this little Santa Fe sign that was left here.
This is Fullerton Station.
I love to ponder and think of what all the different type of locomotives that used to pass through this area back in the day. And I also love that they have the little Amtrak sign on the side of the building here. It's really cool. And just as we're passing by the Fullerton station, there's also a Union Pacific depot next door that was built a few years later, built in 1923. It helps support the Union Pacific operations out in the area. Some of the things I also noticed on our way here is they had some old photographs and illustrations of the area back in the day, including some orange groves and some old Santa Fe steam line trains going through the area back in the day. Love that they somehow preserved this old history of Southern California's railroading.
Oh, that's cool.
As we pass by some of the awesome murals on the wall, we come upon our first freight train here.
This is Buena Park. Watch your step. Use handrails. Buena Park. Now riding Buena Park.
The stop at Buena Park was pretty quick. Once we left, we saw more of the existing cargo freight train here. We had the pleasure of seeing some BNSF locomotives on the way, which was cool. Oh! BNSF. I'm more of a fan of traditional freight trains, so box cars, hoppers, tank cars, automobile rack cars, stuff like that. I feel like they're more visually appealing to look at. We also had the pleasure of seeing some old paint scheme Santa Fe's on some old GP60s.
Oh, Santa Fe.
Here's a screenshot of the GP60 out in the yard. Man, I love that old Santa Fe golden, yellow, and blue paint scheme. We also got some footage of an old GE-9 in a war bonnet paint scheme. As we approach LA, we're passing through the big yard that have all the shipping containers that are loaded onto the trains from the docks and piers. And we get to pass by some more BNSF locomotives. Some of my favorite shots that I did while on the trip was definitely on these little curves here. We got to see the front of the engine as we're going down the line here.
That's awesome.
And just ahead is the Amtrak yard where they have all the Amtrak equipment. Here's some Union Pacific locomotives. But we're about to pass underneath a Art Deco bridge that was built in the late 1920s, early 1930s. Some of my favorite architectural designs within the city of LA. We also got the opportunity to see a Union Pacific locomotive that's on the move. I don't know where, but it was cool seeing it going. As we get closer to the Union Station, we're going to pass by an old switch house here that's been around here since the beginning of the railroading in LA. There's some really awesome pictures of that switch tower with some old Santa Fe and Southern Pacific streamlined passenger trains going by. And here is downtown LA with a nice shot of the front of the Metrolink locomotive pulling us through this yard into the sidings of Union Station of where the LA rail safety event will be held. And we're about to pass another old, I believe, switch house or watchtower for the railroad that's also been around since the beginning of the railroading in the LA area. And right here is the Union Station, what I believe is probably the backside of the station. We're just about to get off the train and see if we can find 3751. The LA Union Station was opened on May 3rd, 1939, part of the Art Deco movement in the city of LA. Recently in the Union Station, they finished renovating a section of the building that used to be where all the tickets were sold. I had a great time at the event. It was the first time I saw 3751 since I was a kid. The last time I remember seeing it, it was down in San Diego in front of the old Santa Fe station. It was such a great opportunity to finally see it again after all those years. I think it had been at least 10 years since I last saw it, and I had a blast seeing it again. I also had the opportunity to get a tour in the cab where they explained some of the history and fun facts about the locomotive. I didn't record any of it. I kind of wish I did, but one little fact that I didn't know about it was the crew for the Polar Express used the 3751 cab interior as a reference point for the cab design for the locomotive within the movie. There was some pleasant moments I had in the station, like I loved this gentleman who was playing some music on the piano, very soothing feeling for the place. Once we were done, we headed back to the platform and headed back to Orange County. I had a fantastic time at the event. Look forward to do it again next year, maybe with some other folks. But yeah, I had a great time, and I hope to see you join another video like this. I have a plan. At some point in time, I'd love to do a train ride down to San Diego, because I haven't done that in a very long time, and that would be something I'd love to also videograph. By the way, if anyone's curious of how those black and white film photography photos came out, when I get them developed, I'll be sure to post them on my Instagram page and Twitter account, so be on the lookout for that. You never know how they're going to come out with film photography, but I'm quite excited to see how they turn out, especially with the black and white, because this is my first time ever shooting black and white. But yeah, guys, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.